to say that I have been anticipating this, doing this video and other videos in this series for quite a while. I'm one of the few distributors or retail locations in the US who is carrying the entire line of the Les Perles Parpuca beads. It's a whole line of shaped beads. Most of them are 2-hole, but not all. And they're created by a French designer named Puca. That's where the Puca comes in. And so they are actually made in France. I'm getting these imported from France for this line. And one of the reasons I decided to do this, because I know a lot of you are kind of on the shaped beads, but the reason I decided to do this is because I think that their product support is so good. And what they do is they have got hundreds, okay, maybe not hundreds, but maybe, I haven't counted, of free patterns using their shaped beads. And I just think that the designs that they have come up with and offer for free are wonderful. It gives me an opportunity to give you even more free patterns that I didn't actually have to sit and do everything myself on. So it makes me faster, giving you more content faster. What I'm doing with these patterns though is I'm going to go through and one by one, it's going to take a while. But they've been translated from French to English. Some of the translations, you can kind of figure it out, but it's a little bit harder to do. So I'm going to do what I call Jillifying the instructions. And that means I'm going to go in and write them in a lot more plain English. In some cases, I may take new photos that I think will show what's going on better. In some cases, I'm going to do videos. And that's what I'm going to do today, is show you one of the Parpuca projects. It's so simple, and I think it makes such a striking statement. It happens to be the necklace that I'm wearing. And so when I started making this sample, I was going to make a bracelet because I thought, I wanted to be faster at getting ready for the video. But I liked it so much that I was like, nope, got to make a necklace. And the only reason I stopped at this length, because I would actually like it even longer, is because I had to finish for the video. I just think it makes a big impact with very little effort. So let me bring you in down to the beads, and I will also take off my necklace and show you what it is I'm talking about. So this necklace or bracelet, here's a bracelet version, it uses 2 kinds of beads. Seriously, that's it. This is a Parpuca bead called a Piros, P-I-R-O-S, and then just some size 15 seed beads. Now this Piros bead, it's a 2-hole bead, obviously, and it does have a top and a bottom to it. It can be a little hard to see, but let me kind of see if I can show you. You can't really see it too well on the edge, but it has a flat bottom right here, and then it comes up to a pointed top on either side. Let me see if I can draw it out a little bit for you. So we've got the sides, a flat bottom, and then it has kind of a rounded top right here. So it has a peak, so it's like a soft roof kind of shape. So that means that there is a top and a bottom to this bead. So this is what it looks like when all the tops are showing, but it also looks cool when all the bottoms are showing. It's a little bit flat. You can see that there's kind of a little bit of a ridge from the bead mold in there, but it looks just as pretty this way. Here's what this one looks like on the bottom. You can actually see the different colors in this metallic iris mix better on the bottom side than you can on the top side. It kind of gets a little more muddy that way, but here, look at how beautiful all that color mixture is. So this is going to be the first of the Parpuca videos, and I wanted to start out with this because it's super satisfying and you only have to buy 1 bead for it. One of the downsides of some of the Puca videos is that not the videos, the projects. I'm the video person. Some of the projects use maybe like 3 or 4 different kinds of the Puca beads in the same project. which means it could cost quite a bit for you to accumulate all of those beads. So what I'm going to do for those kinds of projects is I'm going to put some kits together so that you're only buying the quantity of beads that you need to make that particular project, and you don't have to buy larger quantities of all of them. I think it's going to make it a lot more cost effective. Plus, I'll have put the color combinations together for you. So this is going to be a long-term project for us, is working with these puca beads. One of the things to know about the puca beads is that just like any other two-hole bead, you want to be very aware of whether both holes on the bead are free. So what I like to do with this one is I kind of put them all face so that I can see all the holes, and kind of look down over them to see if I see any spots where it might be clogged up, and I check it with my needle. Now I see one right here. There's a clogged hole right there. Let me double check it. Yep, it's truly clogged, but there we go. By pushing my needle through there, or you can be a little stronger with an awl, you can frequently break out whatever is stuck inside of a blocked hole, but not always. And so that's why you want to try to check that before you use it in your project. Okay, so let's see here. I've got a fresh length of fireline. You can use fireline or thread for this. I attached a stopper bead. And now I'm going to do this very, very simple pattern. First thing you're going to do is pick up a pyros bead. Pyros or pyros, do you suppose? You know what? I looked up the pronunciation of this exact project, which is Prisca. It's called the Prisca Parpuca rope, but I didn't look up the pronunciation of pyros, so I hope I'm saying that right. One of the things is you do want to pick up all of the beads in the same direction. So you will get, at first, you won't be able to kind of maybe eyeball where the top is and where the bottom is, but you get better at it because you start seeing kind of a drop off where the top is. So I like to kind of orient them all in the same direction. And there's a reason for that, and I'm going to show you that here in a second. So like all of these have the tops up here. Okay, so I'm going to pick up one bead in the first hole. I'm going to pick up 3 of the size 15s. I'm going to pass back down through the second hole of that same bead. So that particular stitch is just different than all of the other stitches. From here on out, it's going to be the same thing over and over again. When you're coming out the bottom and you're adding a bead down here, you actually want to grab the second hole of the pyros bead. And when you grab that second hole and you place the bottom to the bottom and the top to the top, then you're in perfect orientation that this is now going to be a half step offset from the previous one. So we're picking up 3 of the size 15s, and now we're going into the second hole of that pyros bead. Okay, and get that nice and tight. So now I'm coming out the top again, so that means I now want to pick up the left-hand hole, or what I think of as the first hole of that bead, and we'll bring that down to the other beads, orient the bottom to the bottom and the top to the top, and I have discovered that if I hold these in my hand while I am adding the 15s and kind of hold that in place right there so that those beads are bud up right next to each other, it really, well, I'm going to show you the difference here in a second. Let me add these 3 beads so I can put this down. So we're picking up the 3 15s and going down through the beads in that, I'm sorry, the second hole in that piece. So what happens is these are really nice and close together. On the first one that I did, notice the spacing difference here. Look how much space there is between each one of these pyros beads. It was just because I wasn't being very concerned about them I wasn't holding them in my hand the way I was, kind of pinching them in place while I was taking that stitch. And it allowed a lot more space to show in between there. It's not right or wrong either way, it's just different, okay? So I just wanted to show you what a difference how you're holding it can make in what your beadwork looks like. I also just was happier feeling like I had a little more control as I was going along, putting it in my hand. So let me do a bottom one again. So again, because my thread is coming out the bottom, if I use the second hole, then that is going to orient this perfectly so that the top and the bottom will be in the right spots for me. And then I can pinch that in place, and I will pick up 3 15s and pass back through the second hole. This is literally what you're doing the entire length. So like I said, it's so simple and easy to do, and very gratifying. I think it's so beautiful. I went monochromatic with these 15s, but you can really make a striking difference by adding some really cool 15s in here. You could certainly do a mixture of the different colors. You know, do a segment and then a segment and then a segment. That would be very cool. So there's lots of ways to kind of put your own individual stamp on this. Now, what I'm doing with this is I want to show you how to bring the two ends together and make it a seamless necklace, because I think this is very cool as a long necklace. And so let me get this in the way. I mean, I'm gonna have to use the, do I have to? No, I don't. Okay, never mind. I was thinking that if I have to add anything, it's gonna be the silver, because I don't have this colorway with me right this second. So when you go to attach the two ends together, you wanna make sure that it's all lined flat, that there's no twist in it. I can take this stopper bead off here, and you're gonna line this up. See, so I am gonna have to add. So now that I'm lining this up, look how I've got two sticky outies here together. So to attach, I want a sticky outie on the top so that I can fit in that space perfectly. So actually, instead of adding one, I'm actually gonna remove one. That'll make it easier, because then it'll color match. Okay, let me rethread this. There we go. Okay, so now same thing. Bring them together, and now look, these two fit in like they were made for each other. Boom. So all I have to do is, my thread is coming out here. It's going to go in here, and we're just going to reinforce this area to attach them. So it's down through there. Now, because we don't have a stopper bead on there, this is going to want to kind of move around on us, that tail thread. So there we go. I can tighten that up. Now, here's something that I'm going to do that's kind of non-standard. Normally, I would not bring a thread out over across here. It is going to, I really just want to reinforce this one little area. So I'm going to go ahead and go with my thread across there. You're never going to see it. Like so, up through that hole. Now I can go up through the second hole here. Getting the angle in here can be a bit of a trick. You just have to wiggle it. And one of the things to watch out for, both at this point but also while you're working, is to make sure that your thread doesn't get hooked on any of these little picots that you're creating over here. Okay, so now I can go across, wait a minute, where's my thread? So this is the tail thread, and that's gonna, so the tail thread, when I finish this off, is gonna go up through here to connect these two and tighten this connection up right there. So I'm right here, so I want to go across these three on the top. There we go. I was holding the needle too far down. Back down through the Puros bead, and then through the Puros bead below it. All right. So now we've circled around that. You can't tell that that was never there, that wasn't there before. And then to end this thread off, I just like to tie a couple of half hitch knots. So right here, I'm going to grab the threads that are right there and pass through the loop. And make sure that tightens down right inside there. Boom. Okay, now I can come back over here. Since I already have my thread showing there once, it won't be any big deal to do it a second time. And again, you know, if you can see the thread right there, more power to you. And then I'm going to want to tie one more half hitch knot, so a good place to do that would be right here. Let's get up to the top, to that outside edge. And then let's do the same thing right here where this picot is. Like so. I want to make sure that it's not looping this little loop of thread. I want to make sure it doesn't loop around any of these seed beads. So I pull down nice and slow. And then 2 is going to be enough on this particular project. I usually say you want to tie 2 to 3 knots, and I think on this one 2 is fine. There's not a lot of weight to this. And then what I like to do is navigate away from the last knot by a couple of beads, and then we are ready to trim that off. You're going to do the exact same thing with your tail thread. You're just going to use it to connect these little areas together right here. End your thread off, and then you will have a fabulous necklace like I do. I mean, seriously, this is so wearable, and it will make a great bracelet too. So that's the other thing. The free instructions that are up at jillwisemandesigns.com, you're going to want to click on the free patterns link on the left-hand side. It's going to take you to the free patterns page where not only all of the free Les Perles Parpuca, I hope I'm not completely destroying that, patterns are, but also all my free patterns. That pattern will show you how to attach a clasp also. So I wanted to show you how to attach the ends together in this video, but there's very simple instructions in their instructions on how to attach a regular clasp to it also for a bracelet or for a shorter length necklace. I think this is going to be the start of a fun journey with the Parpuca beads. Happy beading!